In response to President Trump's executive order to protect the Second Amendment and the rights of all citizens, Pam Bondi has decided to put together a Second Amendment task force. So let's break down what just happened and what this may mean going forward. Now, really quick before we jump into this video, I just want to ask that if you guys want to support the channel for free, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also click the notification bell and turn on all notifications because that helps to ensure that YouTube will actually send these videos. And then just drop a positive comment down below because that helps to tell the algorithm that you appreciate two-way information on YouTube and it should share this video and other videos to more people. As I mentioned in the intro, in response to the Trump executive order to protect Second Amendment rights, AG Pam Bondi has announced that she is going to put together a Second Amendment task force. Now, the goal of the executive order by Trump was to undo all the prior administration's attacks on the Second Amendment and to set the current administration's plan for how they're going to undo a lot of those attacks. The executive order also directed AG Bondi and her office to identify all the pending regulations and all the pending lawsuits that are related to the Second Amendment and some of the things that the prior administration had done. Pam Bondi and her office were required to come up with a report and a game plan and to submit those issues and all of those, reports to President Trump. And now as part of that plan, she has actually notified everybody through a memo that she is presenting to President Trump a proposed plan for a Second Amendment task force. The goal of this task force is to develop some strategies that they're going to use during lawsuits and come up with some policies that they're going to advance to protect the Second Amendment. So let's take a look at this memo that was submitted by AG Bondi. The memo states that for too long, the Second Amendment, which establishes the fundamental individual right of Americans to keep and bear arms, has been treated as a second-class right. No more. It is the policy of the Department of Justice to use its full might to protect the Second Amendment rights of all law-abiding citizens. President Trump has made protecting the Second Amendment rights a priority for his administration. As he has explained, the Second Amendment is an indispensable safeguard of security and liberty because it is foundational to maintaining all other rights held by Americans. To that end, President Trump has directed me to propose a plan of action designed to protect the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. As one element of the comprehensive plan of action that I am proposing to the President, I am hereby creating a Second Amendment Enforcement Task Force. This task force will continue the department's ongoing work to implement Executive Order 14206 and protect the fundamental right secured by the Second Amendment. The task force is principally charged with developing and executing strategies to use litigation and policy to advance, protect, and promote compliance with the Second Amendment. I will serve as the chair of the task force, and the Associate Attorney General will serve as a vice chair. The task force will be further composed of representatives from my personal staff, the Office of the Deputy Attorney General, the Office of the Associate Attorney General, the Office of the Solicitor General, the Civil Division, the Civil Rights Division, the Criminal Division, the ATF, the FBI, and other components or representatives that I may from time to time designate to assist in the task force labors. So that is the memo that was submitted by Pam Bondi about this Second Amendment task force. This is very interesting. It's a very interesting development. The task force will now, pull together some personnel from multiple departments with the goal of implementing some of these strategies and coming up with some strategies to protect the Second Amendment. And this is all related to the Trump executive order. Now, multiple two-way organizations, of course, are in support of the Trump executive order. And now, you've seen some also back this Second Amendment task force that is being pulled together by AG Bondi. In fact, you've had groups like FBC who have already submitted some proposed plans and changes and some priorities that they would like to see this administration actually face. And I'm assuming those will also probably go to this task force and potentially be considered by the task force as well. Now, some of those things that were recommended included things like a Second Amendment czar, who would be a dedicated official to coordinate and implement the administration's pro-rights policy agenda across the executive branch, from the DOJ criminal prosecutions to civil litigation, the ATF, the Department of Commerce, and more, to ensure that all federal departments and agencies are aligned around protecting the right to keep and bear arms. So that is one of those things that's being recommended, where you have one individual that kind of comprehensively knows what's going on and pulls all the organizations and pulls everyone together to move towards one common goal to protect the Second Amendment. The second thing that was proposed is create a staff for a First and Second Amendment section within the DOJ Civil Rights Division. and this would be a specialized section within the DOJ dedicated to addressing and litigating against unconstitutional laws, policies, and practices of states and local officials that violate the right to keep and bear arms and free speech. Now, we've already seen AG Bondi and the DOJ identify some localities like the LA Sheriff's County that was having issues with CCW permits. They weren't processing those. And we've already seen the DOJ say that they're going to go after some of those localities. So this would be something where it's already something established internally within the DOJ in the civil division, where you would have that component that their whole goal would be to identify some of those issues, some of those localities, and go directly after them. This, of course, would be big for some states where you see a lot of localities and states attack Second Amendment rights like California, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and others. And so this would just be a component within the civil division where their whole goal is to stop these type of state attacks. Now, the last thing they recommended would be to enact massive NFA reforms. And what is recommended by FPC is a comprehensive review and modernization initiative to remove or update outdated rules and processes, increase access to NFA regulated arms, and speed processing with a point of purchase processing in virtually instant background check responses, among other things. So here they want to have comprehensive NFA reform, and at the very least, move it to where something is a simple background check, similar to how you just have a simple background check when you purchase a firearm. Now, this task force is certainly a step in the right direction to undo a lot of the horrible ATF and executive acts on the Second Amendment that happened during the Biden administration. My only hesitation with this task force would be that it appears it's all going to be kind of internal within the administration, maybe closed doors, where you only have these members of the administration and kind of the bureaucracy that are giving input on the Second Amendment. In the memo, the AG actually kind of left the door open a little bit for other representatives to take part within the task force, or at least give some input. But that is all going to be determined by the AG as necessary. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a required component of the task force, just something they're going to add in as they see necessary. My general concern with that type of administrative group that is being established is that sometimes they can kind of become out of touch with what grassroots gun owners actually want. Hopefully, they'll be willing to take some input from organizations like GOA and FBC, along with some other individuals within the industry, some industry representatives, maybe some companies as well, to get some further insight about what real individuals want when it comes to the Second Amendment. When it comes to the task force, even I would be willing to have a discussion with maybe the task force or some of these representatives to identify some of the lawsuits and policies that the administration needs to get involved in and needs to change. But as of now, we know that this task force is being put together, and hopefully we will see some positive results and outcomes. And hopefully we see this task force operate in a positive way and do some good things for the Second Amendment. I have no doubt that the administration, with the correct information and competent 2A advocates, can get all of this done. But with bad influence, we know that things can go wrong really quick. We saw that with the bump stock ban and some of the influence they had from prior NRA influence, some prior administrations that were within the NRA. We saw that they gave Trump and his administration bad information and resulted in some horrible things for the Second Amendment. So hopefully we don't see that happen as well with this task force. Hopefully they have, a more comprehensive overview and view about what's going on with the Second Amendment. They take input from more individuals and don't just keep it so closed door, because that should be the goal of the executive order and the task force. It should be to actually meet the wants and needs of us, the law-abiding gun owners, all the things that we want. That should be something that this task force should be focused on. So this is something we're going to be watching closely to see how this develops. As we get more information, I will let you guys know. If you like this video and you'd like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of 2A news. But as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.